Okay, let me see if I can fucking explain this, because I don't even know if I have it myself. It's an idea that popped into my head while watching Paul Thomas Anderson's Punch Drunk Love. And it's this. His idea about changing his life comes down to pudding and frequent flyer miles. Chocolate pudding, vanilla pudding, whatever, gives him the frequent flyer miles to get to Hawaii, to get the girl, to change his life. And this is what triggered this idea. I think the pudding and the frequent flyer miles represent the perfect situation. We're waiting for the perfect situation to arise or emanate from our lives before we act. And that's not going to happen, right? I say that as someone who hasn't, do as I say, not as I do. I am probably also looking for pudding and frequent flyer miles to get me out of whatever situation I'm in. But even though I don't act on it, it doesn't mean that I'm not seeing it. And in this movie, I feel like I see it because I feel like they represent the perfect situation he's waiting for. It's like, what did John Lennon say? Like, the life is what happens while we're making plans. Well, the pudding and the frequent flyer miles is the plan to get to Hawaii. And what happens? The movie is him breaking through because he just decides to go anyway because he doesn't have the miles or the pudding or whatever. Because when he calls, this Punch Drunk Love, you had to have seen it. If you haven't seen it, it sounds like I'm talking complete nonsense. But he calls and says, I want to cash in my frequent flyer miles. And they're like, well, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to process. Meanwhile, the girl's there on vacation or business right now. He's got to go now. And so he has to make a decision whether he's going to wait for the perfect situation or he's going to take the initiative and take the action, which he takes the action, of course. And that's the right move because it changes his life. That's what I think this movie is about. And I think that the business with the 900 number and the Philip Seymour Hoffman, it could be tied into maybe taking the initiative and the action, but I feel like it kind of, to me, represented the obstacles that we put in front of ourselves, weirdly, to try and keep ourselves from changing. You know, it's like if you maybe try to manifest something or you try to initiate change, all of a sudden things start happening to keep you from doing that. It's like your brain is the part of your brain that wants you to stay getting up and having a bagel and going to the park and working a job or doing this or doing that, and then your day's over and then you wake up, you have a bagel, whatever part of your brain wants that to continue, that mess. Nothing wrong with routines, of course. There's a part of your brain that like almost conspires to keep you in your place. Or there's like this weird thing from the universe that wants to test you to see if you're ready for the change that you're actually longing for. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. But to me, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the 1-900 girl, is another way to challenge him because they took money from him, they physically attacked him. It's an opportunity for his couch potato self to shrink back into the shadows and go, see, this is what happens when you try to do things. This is what happens when you try to change things. I'm going to just recover, and then, you know what, I'll get those frequent flyer miles and keep eating pudding and all that, and then I'll go out there. And by then, the woman that he ends up connecting with, she's gone. You know, that opportunity, that ship has sailed. So the movie is almost like a snapshot of the timeline of his life, where he has all these, failed pudding, frequent flyer mile attempts, and maybe, or something else, and he decides not to do anything, which I think you could also argue that him going out to the street and getting that piano organ Wurlitzer thing and putting it in his desk, that's almost like a symbolic gesture of the beginning of the change. I would imagine, we'll never know, but the life he had prior to this movie, in the snapshot of the timeline of his life, where the movie takes place, prior to that, I would guess he never grabbed an organ or a piano, whatever it is, harpsichord, I don't know, Wurlitzer organ off the street and put it in his desk. There was something that called to him, which is what I love about this movie. There's all these things happening where you're experiencing the change with him. And so he goes in, he grabs it, puts it in his desk. Things don't happen for a while. But it's part of that chain of reaction that leads to him happy with the life he's got at the end of it. You know, he overcame all the obstacles. He shouted down Philip Seymour Hoffman. He went to Hawaii anyway. He got the girl. He went for it, you know. He dealt with his family or whatever. And things came together. And so I love this movie. I think it's great. It's been a while since I've seen it. I saw it in the movie theater when it came out, and I think I was just kind of scratching my head. I'm telling you right now, any review that I'm making where I've seen the movie once, you know, probably go back and see the review of Aliens, sorry, big thing with the S. Come back in a few years and I'll have seen it again and I may have a completely different thing. But this time seeing it, I loved it. I liked it before, but I'd say I loved it this time. You can feel the emotions underneath the character. And the way he shot it was so brilliant. I thought it was so beautiful. And Sandler did a great job. I wish I could remember her name, the main Irish actor. She's fantastic in everything she does. And it's just a beautiful movie. I think about change, maybe about John Lennon's quote, "Life is what happens while you make plans." It seems to encapsulate everything I'm talking about. So, 2 thumbs up. I think it's a great movie. I don't know if it's my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie, but it's up there. I think Licorice Pizza might be one of my favorites, just because it's fun and loose and free, and it's just got a lot of great stuff. But this isn't about that. This is about Punch Drunk Love. 2 thumbs up. I think you should see it. Let me know in the comments what you think. You know, is this obvious? This might be obvious. Again, I didn't look anything up. I don't like to do that. I like to do it after I talk about it with you and see what the reactions are. And then usually if people comment, I'll see what the other prevailing ideas are about it. And I never go to the source. Sometimes, maybe, if it's particularly interesting. Like David Lynch, I'll go to the source. Maybe, you know, Chris Nolan, maybe. But I kind of like to just hear what everybody else has to think, because I don't think the artist has, you know, full control over what a movie means. So, Punch Drunk Love.